Oh, hey, everybody. This is the Strangeville Stinkhouse. Did Brad get thrown out already?
No, Brad's here.
Oh, okay. There you go. I usually
Trying to get some of my stuff ready to switch over to my monitor.
Can you hear the fucking anger management crew behind me?
No, are they screaming at each other?
Well, you know, it's a rowdy bunch for sure, obviously, for obvious reasons. But they haven't seen anybody choke slam anybody through a wall since they've been here. But I guess it's Wednesdays and Saturdays. They meet here from like 9 to 10. So right when we start our show, they're shuffling out on Wednesdays.
Seems perfect, I guess, right?
Yeah. Today is Wednesday, June 12th. 2019. I'm a day older, and man, I just get better looking as time goes on. Let me tell you, brother.
That's how I feel.
It's good to be, it's good to be a dude. What's that?
That's what I think every time I look in the mirror. Just like
it's good to be a dude, though. There's a lot of advantages to being male. We kind of like the male experience and the female experience is sort of reversed. Like women peak sexually in their late teens, early 20s, and they have more dick thrown at them than they know what to do with, and they can basically, the world is theirs. They can basically manipulate men to do literally anything they want, from killing people to to buying them whatever they want, and everything in between. And the thing about men is, when we're 19, 20 years old, we don't know how to do anything, and we don't own anything. So unless we're part of the like upper middle class to upper class, where we are like we inherit money, and our parents like make sure that we're set up with like a nice car, nice clothes, nice house, all that stuff. When we're young, we have to establish ourselves as youngsters, and that's where you get this counterculture, like fuck rich people thing that a lot of people grow out of as they learn skills and they start to amass their own wealth. They start to that sort of jealousy and resentment and envy starts to go away for the middle to upper class as they become middle to upper class themselves. But for most people, it's for most men, the experience of learning some kind of rare or uncommon skill that's going to pay a high enough wage that they're able to start to accumulate wealth. That is something that doesn't, for most men, it's like the Western male experience sort of starts off with resentment that you have to do that, and resentment of the people that already have their wealth accumulated, and then so it's like this resentment and then this rebellion. And a lot of us, we spend our 20s sort of ignoring the fact that we should be learning skills and accumulating wealth. And it's sort of like, that's when you see like the party phase. That's when a lot of dudes like binge drink, and maybe they're going to college, but they don't really care. And, college is a tricky thing anyway, because it's hard to say like 4 to 8 years in the future which skills are going to be in demand, because they're the industry, that particular industry is booming, or if these particular skills remain rare. Like in the late 90s to early 2000s, like going into IT was a really like big winner, because there were a huge job opportunities, and there weren't very many skilled people in IT. And I think that market is kind of saturating at this point. Like I've got some friends that went into IT in the mid 2000s that are making six figures. They're making over $100,000 a year in IT, but I'm not sure that that's going to continue very much further into the future, because a lot more people are attaining those skills, and that job, it's kind of like a job saturation. Yeah. Those aren't necessarily rare skills anymore. A lot of people have those skills, and that industry has already peaked, and it's like all the tech jobs that there are going to be are pretty much out there now. The industry is going to evolve and stuff, but as far as tech goes, we're pretty much at I think we've pretty much peaked as far as the innovation in that industry. But as we get older, as men get older, we amass more skills. We only get smarter and wiser as we get older if we're doing it right, right? You know, if we continue to challenge ourselves and we continue to learn new skills, then our knowledge base grows and our skill base grows as we get older. And then for men, and I think the reason that this sort of the biological reason for this, like men only get stronger as they get older. Like as I'm approaching 40, dude, I'm thicker, and I mean that in a muscular way. And you probably feel the same way. Like even without working out, as we approach 40, you should feel yourself like thickening up. Your muscles are getting denser as we get older, and that is I believe that biologically is because there's more of a demand on the male body as we get older. And we sort of settle into our skill sets. Our bodies adjust and allow us to perform well into our 60s now, and sometimes into our 70s. We can perform and continue to accumulate wealth and skills. And for women, like I said, for women, it's like they peak young and we peak old. Like a 45-year-old man is probably the hottest commodity you can get in the job force, because a 45-year-old man has the skills, the physical attributes, and the wisdom to sort of come right into a company and do the job at peak performance. Like you get younger guys that can work longer hours, but they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and then you got older guys that are like pushing 60 that are totally can do all the work and can handle all of the tasks and responsibility, but their bodies are starting to break down and they can't work the hours. So it's like that like 35 to 45-year-old male is like peak performance is what I would say.
It's like in hockey. Like I watch a ton of hockey, and you'll sometimes it's not all players, but there'll be these certain players sometimes. Right now on the Blues, Jay Bouwmeester, the defenseman, he's been in the league like 16 years. And so there's definitely when he came into the league, I guarantee he was maybe a little faster and a little more spry. But then he recently had a hip surgery. It seems like it went really well. So now he's back to skating really, really good, but he's got all this knowledge and experience of being in the league. So he's playing the best hockey he's ever played right now because he understands the game so well, and then it's like he also got some of his physical attributes back, so it just makes him a better player because now he has so much hockey smarts, but then now he has a little bit of his ability, like it's almost like he got younger hips.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So I'm feeling that today. I don't know why I needed to go on that rant, but I'm feeling that today, brother. I'm feeling I'm at my peak. Feeling good. Feeling good about it.
That's better, man, than feeling like you're at your slump, Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Today, I'm dragging ass. I can't remember. I was trying to think on my way to work today. I was like, man, I was just tired. I didn't want to get out of bed. I'm run down. I'm drained. It's like when you wake up tired, you know something's wrong.
Yeah.
and I was trying to remember the last time I took a day off, like a full-on day off, and because like I went fishing with my dad about 3 weeks ago, but I only took the day off from the office. Yeah. I still worked my night job that night, so that wasn't a day off. That was a day fishing and then night work.
You need to get yourself like one of those, like we were talking about a while back, one of those little tablets, because then you could, like chill at home. Sometimes, dude, I'll just take that little iPad. I'll be on the couch just watching TV, but I can still doodle.
Yeah.
And that's kind of nice because. I know you talk about like that the going to the office is really good. It keeps you focused, but also like if it doesn't hurt sometimes to take a day to yourself. I don't feel like and if you have that you can still fuck with and still feel like, well, I did get something done today. I feel like then it does make those days that you take to yourself still seem like you didn't just lay on the couch and eat Fritos all day.
Yeah. That would definitely. Allow me to sort of trick myself into staying home every once in a while. What it is for me is like I'll just go for months, and then I'll just have a crash day. I'll just fucking crash where I literally like can't make my body move where it's just like it's just ain't happening, bro. It ain't happening, and I'll take a day off every couple of months. But I think I'm about at that. I think I'm about there. I feel really. Yesterday, I felt real good during the day. I felt real energized, like when we were doing our show. And then by mid afternoon, man, I had to do 4 pages yesterday, and they were tough pages. They were. I had to add a couple panels and move a couple panels around because the story just wasn't flowing the way I wanted it to flow. And having to do that and then ink all the pages, like it was just a lot more mental energy went into yesterday's pages than is than on a normal day.
Yeah.
And by mid afternoon, by about 4 o'clock, dude, I was so drained. And then work last night, dude, it was killing me. I was falling asleep. By 9 o'clock, I was like, I can't wait to go home and go to bed. And I don't think I saw 11 o'clock.
Really?
I think I was passed out by 11, maybe 11:30.
Yeah, no, me and you were talking a little bit, but it was probably like around 10 was the last I.
Yeah. We were kind of throwing around some ideas for the show and stuff around. That was around 10 o'clock. Yeah. I don't remember. I really don't remember. If I was still awake at 11, I don't remember it.
Yeah, I once we got off here yesterday, I went because I got that book finished. Now I'm just down to like the editing of it and kind of putting a fine tooth comb through it. So me and Amanda spent pretty much the whole rest of the day yesterday just kind of going over and through the book, and then I also hammered out the rest of this cover, which is what I'm working on today.
Oh yeah, I want to see that. Hang on, let me finish what I'm doing right here, and then I want to take a look at this cover.
I wound up. I roughed this thing out, multiple times, and this is the one I wound up going with.
Hang on, I'm not over there yet. I'm just trying to finish my thought here on this hat. Come over. That'll work. Yeah, let's see this thing.
There it is on the screen.
Oh yeah. Hang on, let me lock on that. Oh, that's looking good, brother.
I hope it turns out cool. So
that's looking good.
I went back in I put those gnomes back there with their fist up. They're both going to be like vomiting, and I'm squeeze that little. His name's Gork, the little alien down there.
Yeah,
he'll be in there, and got a couple of those weirdo plants and added some of the weird butterflies things like that you see. And
yeah, that's going to look good. Are you going to have that rainbow puke like cascading down the sides of like all the way down the sides of the
that's what
the picture there?
I think so, or it'll kind of be like all down the sides where it kind of looks like it's dripping down the picture.
Yeah, you should like put them on coming down Grandpa's fucking jacket.
Yeah,
like he's literally puking on him, and then
barf splattered all over the whole mess of them.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, it's looking really cool, brother.
Thank you. I wound up working on the pencil of this thing for a good while yesterday, so I got it to a point where I was happy enough with it that I felt like I could throw it in here and then clean up anything that needed cleaned up. The main thing is just getting all the people where you want them.
Right.
And then once you get then there's not much of it. Then you just, once I get where I'm like, all right, everybody, and is where I want them. Like, I'll even a lot of times, dude, I don't even worry. I'll have lines overlapping other lines and shit. I don't worry about erasing all that. I'll just not put that line in when I do it.
Right.
But
I'm starting to think about what I'm going to do for the cover of the graphic novel version of this comic, because once all 3 issues are out, I'm going to collect it all as a 100. Well, right now it's at 120 pages. It'll probably be more when I turn it into a graphic novel. But I'm starting to think of what that cover is going to look like, because I'm not going to use any of the 3 existing covers for that. I'm gonna create a sort of like what you've got there, like a montage cover of a lot of the characters. I think I'm gonna have like all the main characters like fighting over the fighting over the talisman.
Yeah, that'd be epic.
And I also had this idea of like, because you know how the comic is like it's set into episodes where Kevin Strange and the Pumpkin Monster do like an introduction and an exit for each issue.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking to myself, how will that flow in the context of a graphic novel? Because it's just, one page is, the one issue is going to end and the next issue is going to start. But in a graphic novel, that's just a page turn.
Yeah. And you can think about it. I've seen, like, I know in some old cartoons and stuff like that, you'll see where a narrator will come in and be like, well, look at what our characters have gotten themselves into now. So you can always kind of do it that way,
Well, what I was thinking was, since Kevin Strange already kind of does that, and instead of it just because, well, what would happen in the context of the graphic novel is the last page of issue 1 is Kevin Strange being like, "Can you believe what happened?" And then the very next page is Kevin Strange being like, "Welcome back."
Yeah.
So I want to put something between that, and I was thinking about doing a smoke break where it's like a single page comic that is just Nixon and Hogan's heads as they're smoking weed, and each smoke break is just one ridiculous little conversation, like Hogan being like, "Bro, have you ever thought about what it would be like to have your own set of titties?"
Yeah, just something that has nothing to do with the story.
Just a smoke break where they're just smoking weed and talking nonsense, and then have those little smoke breaks be the thing that breaks up the different comics.
Yeah, that'd be a cool idea. Plus, it adds another little like comedic element where you can kind of make them say whatever you want in those little breaks.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. Also, like I'm reading Incredible Hulk graphic novel right now that's called The Immortal Hulk, and it's like written as like a horror comic.
Oh, really?
And it's pretty cool. It's got some really neat. It's like Bruce Banner is like he's on the run from the law, and like always, and they think he's dead, and there's just this one reporter that's after him, and she thinks he's still alive, and so she's like following his trail. But what Hulk is out there doing is he's trying to find these. He's like going from small town to small town, and there's these stories of like ghosts and monsters, but every one of them has something to do with gamma radiation. And so Hulk believes it's like his responsibility to track down these irradiated monsters and put an end to them. And so each story is this like horrific, awful horror story about some other gamma radiated crazy or monster that's killing people in some little obscure town. And what it does between issues, because it's a graphic novel, it's a trade paperback, so it's a collection. A trade paperback is typically 6 issues of a comic, so there's two trade paperbacks a year for a series that has 12 issues a year. 1 issue a month. So for the split in these, like between issues, it's just a picture of the cover of that issue with no text, and it just says like 1 for issue 1, and then at the end of that, the split between issues is the cover of what was issue 2, and then it says 2. It doesn't have any of the it doesn't say Immortal Hulk, and it doesn't have the credits or anything. It just says the number 2, and then the number 3. And I was thinking, well, that's an easy thing to do. I could put the covers between the issues and just say, number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever. I could do that in addition to or instead of the smoke break.
Yeah, I think they could both be cool, but I think the smoke break for like the style of comic that you make almost would be, the way you're talking about it, it seems like it has like some dramaticness to it. It's kind of, but with our comics being so goofy and weird, I think that a funny little smoke break where they make little bad jokes or stuff like that might suit the comic better.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too.
I hadn't. The one thing I had never thought about until last night was the back of the comic.
Yeah, and what's the reason that you haven't thought of that? Because I've thought about that too. Like, why don't I know what the back of comics look like? Because it's almost always just an advertisement.
Yeah, I'm gonna do what I was thinking is like, because every one of mine is kind of like an individual little tale. You know, you can read, you'll be able to read any of my issues without needing to read the one before. You know,
Right.
And so what I think I might do is just like pick like a solid color on the back, and then like how this one's got this one's about these weird little gnomes. So maybe in the middle of the back I'll put just a picture of one of the like barfing gnome heads, and then the one I do with the Yeti might just on the back have it'll be a solid color, and then in the center just a picture of the Yeti's head, you know, or the one so all it will be is like what the story is kind of like the character that tale's based around, kind of.
Right.
So that might be a neat idea.
Yeah, that'll work.
Something to fill it, you know.
Are you gonna put like Are you gonna put like a synopsis of the story on there, or just that picture?
I think on the back I'll just maybe put just the image of like on the back of this first one I might just put a barfing gnome face, you know.
Yeah.
Like centered in the middle of the picture, you know, or in the middle of the page, and I might just do that. I probably won't put like any text much back there, you know, just the face in the middle and a cool solid color, you know.
Yeah, I see a lot of indie comics that do that, where they just put like a single image back there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like the logo of the company. Sometimes it's like you're saying the book itself, something from the book itself. Damn this eyeball.
Yeah, I'd never thought about what I was going to put back there until the other night, and I was like, oh, fuck.
So how far are you into editing now?
We're probably got, I don't know, 3 or 4 pages left that we need to really comb through, you know?
It's close, brother.
I'm getting close, yeah. But that's just me editing it. Then I'm going to have someone else look over it once I feel like we've got it where we think it's right. Then I'm still going to have someone else look at it, just, you know, just because it's one of those things sometimes where when you see stuff so much, you don't catch things, you know?
Oh, yeah. No, I've never tried to self-edit because it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, I'm not. My woman's the one really editing it because I'm the one that guaranteed made all the mistakes on it. So I would, you know what I mean? Like, you know, dude, we've texted each other. I can't spell worth shit, you know?
Yeah, there's some writers, though, that really think they can self-edit their own work. And it's like, no, you're the one that made the mistakes, dude.
Yeah, if I was going to, I feel like if I was going to do that, I just wouldn't even worry about editing it because it's like I didn't try to fuck it up when I was doing it, you know?
Right.
So I can't spell. That's the problem. So how would I know? No, well, I chose not to spell when I made it, so I could go back in 6 months. But yeah, dude, I am getting pretty close. Once this cover will be the last real big piece of art that has to be done for it. You know, other than like I said, I might have to draw. I can draw those little barfing gnomes pretty quickly anymore. I've drawn them so much. So,
yeah.
So I'll have to draw one of those for the back, and I have an introduction page that I'm gonna put in this thing like before the story starts, and that will kind of be where it lays out a little bit of what's going on in the story, you know.
Yeah.
And then I think I've showed you before I did because the character Riggs in this is actually like just in Junior's head. He's not, you know, he's like an imaginary friend gone kind of rogue, you know.
Right.
So whenever they talk, all the dialogue in between them is not, you know, it's not actual talk. It's like thought bubbles, you know.
Right.
So I did anytime that Junior and Riggs are talking to each other, thought bubbles are like I reversed it, so it's a black bubble with white text in it.
Yeah.
Instead of just being that way, because I wanted to make sure that people had a way to know, like, no, this isn't being said. This is like inner dialogue, you know?
Right.
Game 7 tonight, man, I think, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Hockey. Will the Blues blow their lead? I mean, now it's tied again, but, you know, will they blow it?
I mean,
lose after coming up? games to 3 games to 2.
We've been better all season. Like even when we were not playing good, we always have played better not at home this season.
Yeah.
So that's encouraging at least that that we usually can't. We've been able to perform on the road this whole year better. So
yeah,
I don't feel like we're 100% out. I still feel like we could come in and get it, but we gotta show up. We can't play.
Yeah, depends on which team shows up.
Yeah, can't play how we played in Game 6, or we'll not get it.
Or Game 3 or Game 1.
Yeah, that's what I think I was on here the other night. I say it so often, but it's that we have 2 teams.
Yeah,
we have 2 teams. One that is like a maniac team that's good and careful and extremely dangerous, and the other one that's something way different than that. You see Brett Hall all drunk after that last game?
No.
Yeah, apparently he was fucking sloshed. And, there's memes all over the internet about it.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, how many fucking parties got ruined?
Oh, dude, I bet.
Because they lost that game. Like St. Louis must have been set. Like all those bars must have been set to have mega parties. And I'm not saying they didn't still have parties, but man.
This is something that Amanda brought up to me the other day, and I honestly have no idea how it works out. But like say tonight the Blues win, okay? You'll be able to go into a store tomorrow and buy Blues Stanley Cup championship, right?
Yeah, well what they do is they make it. So it's pre-made, and then if they win, good, and if they lose, it's garbage. They sell it in China.
That's what I was wondering. Is this like all that shit gets tossed,
Yeah, it just gets dumped on the Chinese bootleg market.
So you go over like the third world countries, you got all these like people wearing all these shirts of teams that like were almost to win, but it's
You really do, yes. That's absolutely, yes. You'll absolutely see that. If you go over to Indonesia, you will see like, wait a minute, that team didn't win that game.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Like, that's what I was wondering. I never really thought of that. Amanda brought it up the other night, and I was like, I actually have never thought of that before, but it has to already be made because it's sitting there, Yep. It's that some fucking waste,
That happened to Hillary Clinton. There was a leaked Newsweek cover, and the Newsweek cover had her face, and it said "Madame President." That just didn't happen.
Like, well, you didn't get to be the first lady president, but you did get to be the first lady error president mug that was made.
Yep.
That shows, dude, the instant gratification that our society has. That these companies are just like, go ahead and make it, even if we got no time.
Absolutely.
We can't.
Exactly.
No time. Waste millions of dollars of products because we can't. No one can wait, a week or 2 weeks if they win. They got to have that shit now.
Gotta have it now.
Gotta have it now. I understand that instant gratification mentality because let's be honest, instant gratification is awesome. You know what I mean? Like it's understandable of how saturated our society is in it because like most people when they want something, if they could just go ahead and have it, they'd prefer it to be that way.
Yeah, and the fuck part about it is that's almost never the most satisfying. Like getting something quickly is almost never the most satisfying way to get something.
Dude, I don't know how like your family was growing up, but when I was a kid, dude, my mom, almost always at all times had a big layaway order somewhere.
Yeah.
Like where there was things that we need and then you'd put them in layaway and you go down and slowly chip away at being able to get them.
Yeah.
Like layaway is something that like people, I don't even think many people fucking use it or care about it. It's like if they can't.
I don't even know if it still exists, brother.
Yeah, I don't think it does. I was just going to say that too. I don't even know if the stores still do it. That's how far away from it we are,
Yeah, we went from layaway to credit cards.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, my mom constantly had layaway orders, especially like when school was getting ready to go back or things like that,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy, but a lot different, dude. Nobody can wait for anything. But then that's what I think leads to people having no like people don't care about their stuff, and it's because like whenever you have to wait for something and earn it, like wait and wait and wait. It's easy when something's just handed to you to not really appreciate it. Hello,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I'm lining this thing a little thicker than the usual line size I use.
Let me come back over here and check you out. Oh my God. Where are we at? Okay.
Using a little bit thicker lines on it than I usually do.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just want it to be kind of bold, and I'm probably gonna this forefront stuff. I'm kind of doing thick as I get back to these little gnomes, because see these little gnomes, some of this shit's real tight, so I might go to a smaller line.
Yeah, I mean, line thickness is like the more cartoony it is, the less it matters. But one of the things about inking is the line weight is the trick to the eye is the closer things are, the heavier the lines are, and then the further away you get the lighter.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna, as I get back to these gnomes and stuff that you can tell are kind of like farther back in the scene, then I'll thin my lines out a little bit on those gnomes. But all this stuff up here in the forefront, I went with a little bit of a thicker line than I usually use. Try to give it a little bit more depth.
Yeah. Looking super cool. I'm working on a poor Tony here's having a bad day. He's been brought back to life. He's been now he's been grown into a giant zombie. He's been brought back as a zombie, grown into a giant zombie to fight Tehomana, the big bad, and she has spit a series of regular sized zombies into his face, and poked out his eye, and then stabbed him in the face. So now he's back on the ground screaming and wailing about how much he wants to die. It's a bad day for Tony.
Bad day for Tony. Oh, yeah. I like that movie a lot. The real movie of it had me rolling when the zombie grabs his head and Hogan just walks right over. He's like, dude, that thing's squeezing your buddy's head. Keep your head away from it.
That's the thing.
I also like the zombies are like really close, and he's like, no man, we got a minute. Like he wants to smoke his weed before he's like, man, those zombies are slow.
Slow. Look at them zombies over there. They're slow as shit.
They ain't gotta be in too much of a hurry.
Man, I think Nixon and Hogan are like an amalgamation of like Beavis and Butthead and Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, when I was watching a while back, the dude Nixon's beating off and sniffing someone's panties. I don't remember exactly.
Sniffing his own mother's panties.
Is that, yeah? And then Hogan comes in, and I think that one had something to do with maybe Santa showed up.
No, that one is time travel. Nixon and Hogan. It's called Nixon and Hogan and Time Travel Sucks.
Yeah, and they got oil all over their heads and stuff.
Yeah. Nixon and Hogan come back from the future to the past to warn Nixon and Hogan about the apocalypse, but Nixon and Hogan get them stoned, and they can't remember why they came. So they just decide to watch hack movies.
Yeah, every time I start watching one of those, it just gets me rolling. It's so and they're so bad, not bad, like they're just like the humor in them is so bad, like the stuff that's going on. It's I remember when you were doing those, it was huge around here. I always wish apparently I missed out on an opportunity to be in one, but I wish I'd been able to be in one or do something with one.
Yeah, one of the funny things about hack movies that I liked to do, and I don't know how many people actually got the humor of it, was to make it a meta universe where all the characters in the Hack movies were fans of Hack movies.
Yeah.
And they all wore the merchandise, and they had the posters on the walls, and they wore the T-shirts, and they were like there's a scene in Nixon and Hogan Smoke Christmas where Don DeWeppe has Santa Claus tied up, and he's taking him captive, but Nixon and Hogan are confused because Santa Claus is at their house, and he's got like a bag, and Don DeWeppe has a bag over Santa's head, and he pulls the bag off Santa's head, and Nixon and Hogan are like, "That's not Santa Claus. That's David Wayne Black from Hack movies. He's been in such films as Dead Shit and Cockhammer." And he's like, "Well, fuck this," and pulls a gun out and shoots David Wayne Black in the face. And before he does, he's like, I do a I dress up like Santa Claus for a charity for little poor kids of Strangeville. And this maniac kidnapped me. Anyway, so it's like they're like, "Oh, DWB, we're huge fans. Can we get your autograph?" He's like, "You idiots! This guy's gonna kill me." But anyway, it's like they're fans of their own movies. That's I don't know if other people find that funny, but I think that's
that's how the guys that are in the Gallagher brothers from Oasis. Every time you see one of those guys, they're wearing a fucking Oasis shirt.
Are they?
I don't know. To me, like when it's on, I don't feel like it's not humor to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not doing it ironically.
Ironically, yeah. It's like if you're, I don't know. I always find it a little tacky if you're especially like if your band is huge like that. You know, don't get up on stage like a cholo on Easter and play your music. Where it's like we already know who you are. It's like you're advertising your band. You know, your show has your face on it. You know. But yeah, I've seen shitloads of pictures of those dudes where they're wearing Oasis shirts. It's like.
That's funny. I'm so tired of drawing zombies, dude.
Oh yeah.
I've probably drawn 1,000 zombies.
That's what when I burned out on this book. One of the things that was just I had drawn Junior so many times, you know, and I was just like, I should draw something other than this little redheaded bastard, you know.
For some reason, I don't get tired of drawing Nixon and Hogan, but I really get tired of drawing zombies. Like for a lot of these shots, I didn't even draw the zombies into them with the pencils. I was like, I am not going to draw. Like for this one, I did. This shot I did, but for most of them, I'm like, I'm not even going to fucking draw these. I'm not going to draw them twice.
Yeah.
I just roughed in figures, and I wouldn't even like do any detail work to them with the pencils because I was like, fuck this, I'll do it in ink. Then I get to the ink and I'm like, fuck this, I don't want to do this.
Well, that book has a shitload of zombies in it. Those
oh, I know.
Whole series.
You'll notice that as the books go on, the zombies were like real unique looking and had a lot of details to them in the first issue. In the second issue, it's like these things are starting to kind of look, and then by this issue, it's like they're all exactly the same. He's just drawing the same zombie over and over.
Different colored shirt, you know.
Exactly, a different color. Well, I draw the zombies a different color. That's the trick. Is I just draw the zombies exactly the same, and then make them drastically different colors. Like, did I get you? No.
And so many of those garden gnomes that like I've drawn all of them individually, but when you look at some of them, they have like you can see little differences. But I mean, there's always like I don't know. I can't. The way I draw them, you know, you can't change a shitload about them other than just color, maybe a little bit of a different shaped face, or you know. They always have red hats. They always have red hats, and sometimes I will change their like their shirt color, you know.
Yeah.
And then I also started changing little bits of like their beard colors and stuff, but it's not a drastic difference in them, you know.
Right. I don't want to rip off I don't want to rip off the fans. I want them to get an experience where they can enjoy the art, where they can look back and see the different zombies and the details that are in them and stuff. But at a certain point, I just can't fucking draw another zombie, dude.
Well, in this book, the dude that like for some reason has become my favorite to draw is the dude I'm drawing now, which is the grandpa.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but he's become the one I have the character. I like drawing the lump gore a lot too, but he's not in the book anywhere near as much as these other characters.
Right.
I always have a lot of fun drawing this grandpa because I think it's just because he's supposed to be kind of lost and confused. So I just always kind of like you always just kind of make him look, like oh, like he doesn't know what's going on. So I always have fun drawing him, but Junior's the one that I've burned out on the most is drawing.
Yeah, well, you've probably drawn him 400 or 500 times.
Yeah, I've drawn him more than anything else in the book for sure.
Yeah, well, I guess I kind of Hogan always looks like he's lost and confused, so I kind of always like drawing him. I don't know why. I mean, it's me drawing me, so I guess that says a lot about me. Yeah. Oh, the guy I like drawing the most is myself.
It also I've noticed in your book, it shows Nixon's penis a lot more than yours.
I don't think Hogan's dick has been in this.
I don't yet. So you like drawing yourself as a character more, but you like drawing Nixon's penis more.
That's interesting. That's an interesting observation.
There's something to look into there.
I think their penises are in the movies about as often as each other.
Yeah.
I don't think I put Nixon's dong on screen any more than my own dong. I mean, there's definitely more dicks than well, there's no vaginas. There's no vaginas in the movies, but there's more penises than there are boobs. Again, whatever that says about me.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day though. That you never see Hogan's piece. It's only Nixon.
We'll have to rectify that in the next adventure they have.
Yeah,
and I have a couple of adventures with them that I have. Like I said, I have a sequel to this written, Dead Shit 2, but I don't want to go direct. I don't want to do 2 Dead Shit books in a row. Even if I do another hack movies like adaptation next.
Yeah,
I don't want it to be Nixon and Hogan, and so I maybe two books from now I'll go back and do a Nixon Hogan story, but I don't want it to be 2 dead shits in a row. So I do have one outlined called Nixon and Hogan's birthday death head.
Yeah,
and it's pretty funny. Nixon's having a birthday party, and this goth girl curses him.
Yeah,
and he takes this giant shit, and this creature named this demon named Death Head Doug comes out of the toilet, and he starts possessing the people as they show up to the party, and they just start horrifically killing each other. He possesses these partygoers and then horrifically kills other partygoers, and Nixon refuses to stop having his party. He's like, motherfucker, ain't nothing gonna stop this fucking party. And they just keep trying to hide bodies and shit, and they just keep trying to keep the party going while trying to figure out how to defeat Death Head Doug.
Death Head Doug.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. That's one idea I have. Then I have the Dead Shit 2 sequel with Nixon and Hogan, and that might be it. I might not have any other ideas for them right now.
1 second, I'll be right back. Okay.
Oh yeah. So one of the things that I do, as you can see right now on screen, is I'll go to that. I'll go back to that pencil layer, and I'll grab and lasso and move around different pieces of the pencil. Like I thought Hogan's hands were up too high there, so instead of trying to totally redraw them, I just went in there and cut them out of the pencil layer, and then moved them down. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody's going to see that pencil layer. Like, I'll turn it off. That's not going to show up in the final page. So that's a quick and easy way to sort of reorganize something that's not drawn quite as good as you want it to be drawn. Just jump in and move that pencil layer around a little bit.
I'm back.
Welcome back, buddy.
Yeah.
Welcome back. They do show up. I was just thinking, Nixon and Hogan do show up as like a cameo in Cockhammer 2, the comic book script, but they're not in it. They're not in it very long, and they're just sort of ridiculous. They're kind of like their role in Cockhammer, the movie. They're in it, but they're not in it very much.
Yeah. We've talked about a couple other, I know, like concept ideas that you've thrown around a little bit too. A little bit, I think.
Yeah, there's several that are like I said, they're going to take place in the Hack Movies universe, but they're brand new ideas, like Bionic Butts, which will be the story of three big booty girls from the future that come back in time to Strangeville for some reason or another. They have to, kidnap or kill or save somebody, like a Terminator parody, and they end up hooking up with these. So I've already had stoners, obviously Nixon and Hogan, so I don't want to make them stoners. I've already had pillhead drug addicts, so I don't want. They're sorry, Terrence and Parander from Cockhammer. They're pillheads, but they're nymphomaniacs. They're like obsessed with sex. So I don't want to do that. But I was thinking the one type of like stereotypical duo that I haven't done yet in the Hack Movies universe is a pair of metalheads. So I was thinking about I was thinking that the three big booty girls come back and end up befriending these two metalheads, these two douchebag metalheads.
You gotta have some metalheads, dude. I mean,
yeah, I've never done the metalheads before, so that'll be
fun. Yeah, you sent me a little bits of concept art for that idea, and it looks like it could be awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a lot of. I actually was on Instagram this morning before I came to work, scrolling, and I saw this really nice big booty girl illustration, and I went ahead and screen captured it to later sometime go in and trace it and like learn the magic of why this big booty girl looks so good. And I mean, she's got like a pin waist and then this gigantic butt thighs, and that's kind of what. And each big butt girl is going to have her own unique big butt, because big butts don't all come in the same size and shape. Big butts are often very unique in their flavor. So I'm gonna
like a butterfly,
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna have I'm gonna spend a lot of time on their butts, trying to like sculpt their booty features in a way that each booty on each girl is recognizable, even if her face isn't in the shot. I want you to be able to. My goal is to have each booty be so unique that you'll know which character is in the shot just by the sight of her big butt.
Well, I'm sure if you put as much care and time into that as you do the dongs, you'll
well, I mean,
you'll nail it, dude.
I have a passion for dongs, but I think my passion for big butts is even stronger. So I think we'll get there.
Yeah,
I think we'll get there.
Those character designs that you sent me and just the overall idea of the story, I think could be a real cool thing. For sure.
Yeah, it ought to be fun, and it'll be my first time creating brand new Hack movies. Like, there's new characters in this, like Ahomana. Well, no, she's not new. I just changed her a little bit. I was gonna say she's a brand new character for this adaptation of Dead Shit, but it's the same girl as who plays the villain in the movie. I've just expanded her backstory. So I'm trying to think. There aren't any new characters in this book. So that'll be my first time creating brand new Hack Movies characters in over 10 years.
Damn. That's nuts.
Yeah, that's a lot. That'll be a lot of fun.
It's crazy to think about how fast 10 years has moved.
Oh, it's insane. On one hand, it's like, where does the time go? And on the other hand, it's like, if you can't even remember 10 years because it's going by so fast, you're doing it right. I mean, you're living life.
Yeah.
You're doing cool things that are keeping you busy and keeping you occupied every day. And if it was dragging on, if I was like, this world will never end, someone end my suffering, I would be, obviously I'd be miserable.
Yeah, I was talking to an artist buddy on Instagram last night, and we were just talking about how we'd been busy and stuff like that. But you can't complain when you're busy because you're being creative, you know. Because
Exactly.
this kind of stuff here that you're doing, it's like that. No, not that we're doing or anyone that's doing it. It's like a leisure of love because no one says we have to do this. Like
Right.
this isn't like what pays our bills. It's not. We just do this for the love of doing it. So if it makes, even if you're busy, if you love doing it, then it's like it's kind of good to be busy doing what you love.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't do anything for someone that told me I had to. That's the thing. It's the secret to a fulfilling life is if you're only doing something, if your motivation for doing something is because somebody else told you to do it, you ain't gonna have a good time.
No, I have a buddy who's a really, really good mechanic as far as like cars and stuff, But he loves working on cars, but he won't do it for a living because he says that it would ruin his thing,
Yeah.
Like
Well,
he likes it as a hobby, and then it can stay enjoyable. But if he starts having, deadlines and all this different stuff, then it could ruin his favorite thing to do.
yeah, I know a lot of people that have that attitude of like, I'll only do this as long as there's no responsibility attached to it. But I think that it's just as easy to say that forcing that responsibility, like Doug Tanaple will tell you that the days he doesn't want to go downstairs and work on art for 18 hours are the days he just goes and looks at his kids and knows that if he doesn't go downstairs and work, then those kids aren't going to have the life that he's given them. And so it just depends on your type of personality. There's the personality type that somebody's knocking on my door. Hold on a second. No. Okie dokie. Are you there?
Yeah, pizza dude.
No, that was somebody for the anger management classes.
Telling me to shut the fuck up, or he's gonna.
No. As he thought this was the room.
Oh, I get you. Trying to.
Apparently, I'm in here talking like a anger management instructor.
Right. That's funny though.
That looks like shit. What was I saying? Oh, it just depends on your personality type. If you want to have the thing you love be the most important and the most important responsibility in your life, or if you want the thing you love to have the least amount of responsibility. It just depends on your personality type. Like I know a lot of authors that are like, I loved writing right up until the moment I had to pay my bills. Now I hate it. And I just, whatever, man.
Yeah, it's like that's when you should really love it because it can, like if honestly, if anybody can get to where they can do their favorite thing on earth for a living, then that's, in my opinion at least, that's a pretty big. I don't usually use the word blessing, but that is a blessing. If your whole, if you can forge out a way for yourself in the world by doing what you love to do, that's a pretty lucky person,
Yep.
At least
I think it's something that I think everybody should aspire to do. Your passion. You're never going to work harder, and you're never going to work better, like more efficiently, than when you're working for yourself and you're doing the thing you're most passionate about in life. And any other work you do is going to be subpar.
Yeah.
To that, but again, some people will tell you like, I hated it the moment that it became a responsibility in my life. But those kind of people are also usually the kind of people that avoid responsibility at all.
Yeah.
They don't want any responsibility at all, period. And that's fine. Again, that's one way to live life.
No lie, I was a big responsibility dodger when I was younger, for sure. It took me a long time to get to where. It took me a long time to grow up. Like a long time passed when I was considered a grown up. I still wasn't a grown up.
Yeah, I was the same way. It took me a long time to, and I had that same attitude when I was younger. It's like, I don't care if this makes money because it's what I love to do. And then people will often feed into that and say, oh yeah, it's your passion, it's your hobby. And pretty much you can surround yourself with people that'll tell you whatever you want to hear.
Yeah.
And if that's what you want to hear, if you want to hear that it's, you know, it takes a while to find yourself, don't worry about it. That the right thing is out there for you. You'll find it. I promise. Those kind of people. I don't really like being told things like that. I think it's, I think people are, I don't know, they're trying to make you feel better, I guess, but it seems condescending to me in a way.
Yeah. Well, I was just talking to my brother-in-law a while back, and we were talking about how when we were both kids, I don't know, I guess a lot of parents probably do this, but our parents would just tell us, you can be anything you want when you get older. You can be anything you want when you get older. But then they forgot, I don't know, they like didn't install the parts that like made you like realize that you weren't just going to turn into anything.
Yeah. You have to work hard.
I mean, like, if you're not just going to like wake up and then NASA call you and be like, you want to go to the moon, you know?
Right. Well, that's what I mean. It seems like it's not good advice to be like, I always knew you'd succeed at your dreams. It's like, that's not really helpful, Mom.
No.
And my mom was never like that. My mom was, I used to resent her for it, but I really respect the fact that she raised me this way now. It was like, if you want to go do it, nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to get you there.
Yeah. But I think that was for a lot of kids, that was almost like a left out thing. It's just like, well, I can be whatever I want, but then it's like they forget to install the part that's like, you can be whatever you want, but you also got to put in a shitload of work.
Yeah, put in the work to get there.
Yeah, not many people get to where they want to be by just playing Grand Theft Auto 5 and waiting for the phone to ring, you know? Like,
yeah.
The phone will never fucking ring. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, and people, especially where we live, where it's most people make their living working for a big corporation.
Yeah.
Be it the oil refinery or the bullet factory, or pick a, or for women, they work at the hospitals. They become nurses and work at the hospitals routinely. It's always go learn how to work for somebody else is the sort of attitude in small town America, and that's fine. And we actually are blessed that we live in an area that has an oil refinery, a bullet factory, and a bunch of hospitals for women to go work at.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of rural, like I was talking about on one of our first episodes. When you get too far out into the rural area here, there are no opportunities.
No.
There are no opportunities to do much of anything. And for a personality type like mine, I get no pleasure working for someone else. I never have. I've just never gotten any pleasure out of doing the work somebody else doesn't want to do themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only time I've ever had motivation and passion for any type of labor is when I'm doing it for myself. Yeah, and that's what it took. That's what it took me a long time to wake up and realize, like, well into my 20s, before I realized that the only way I was going to motivate myself to get up and do a really good job and learn skills was if I was learning skills that I would use for myself.
Yeah, my youngest brother, he did really well. He's done really well for himself. But I think he got to watch all of his, because he's 12 years younger than me. So I think he got to watch everybody, all of us, me and my other brother, my dad, and everybody. He got to watch all of us like frail around and not really know what we're doing. And then I think he was like, man, I got to do something so I'm not in that boat. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so he went to a trade school and became a HVAC technician. And,
dude, there's nothing more lucrative right now than trade schools.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Trade schools are killer, man. They teach you a skill set. You know what I mean? And
a skill set that, again, like I was saying earlier, that the tech stuff is like hitting its peak, but we've sort of left behind the trade school stuff, the labor stuff.
Yeah. And
because of that, it's actually coming back in demand.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's always going to be a demand for, like, like my little brother's got to go and learn new things all the time to stay like relevant in what he's doing,
Right.
But like, you're going to have to do that in a lot of jobs and a lot of things. You're not always, the system that you learn isn't going to work probably 5 years down the road to do most things,
Right. Well, if you watch a lot of Joe Rogan, he likes to have on those future tech guys that tell you that everything's going to be automated and everything's going to be, there aren't going to be any jobs and we're all going to have to be on a socialist style universal basic income and all this stuff. I think that's all nonsense. If you actually look at the number of deaths associated with Tesla's self-driving cars,
Yeah.
and then you listen to somebody like Sam Harris go on Joe Rogan talking about the future of driving is self-driving cars. It's like, dude, that AI is just, I don't know that it'll ever be at a point where, what do you do? What does a self-driving car, what does an AI car do when he has to swerve to the left and hit the old man on the bicycle, or swerve to the right and hit the little girl and her puppy, or hit the car in front of him and sustain damage? How does the AI ever know what the right decision is? And the thing is the human doesn't know what the right decision is either, but the human has to suffer real consequences for their decisions.
Yeah.
The AI just does whatever, he hits the thing that's closest or furthest away or whatever. I honestly don't think it'll ever work. I personally don't believe any of the AI hogwash.
Yeah, I think there's certain things that, like when you go into Walmart now and you can check yourself out. I think we'll see more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but if you go to talking
about, which is a lot different than just some machines that you can scan all your stuff and pay for it with. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing about self-checkout at Walmart. How many teller lanes does checkout lanes does Walmart have? Like 25.
Yeah.
How many are ever open?
Like
2.
Yeah, 3 tops. Like,
how many self-checkout spots are there? 2, 1 on either side.
Yeah.
How many checkers are there? 1 on each side. So today, so 10 years ago, Walmart had 25 lanes and 2 open. Today, Walmart has 25 lanes, 2 open, and 2 self-checkout spots on either side with 2 technicians. There are actually 4 tellers on the floor in the era where they're supposed to be replaced by kiosks, when there were only 2 on the floor 10 years ago. Again, I don't buy into this stuff that somehow machines are going to take over, because there's always people that have to go over and make the machines work right.
Well, yeah,
the machines don't fucking work right.
Well, the customers don't know how to use the machine.
Yes, exactly.
There's something going on where, like, last time I was in Walmart, we use a self-checkout, and I bet there was 4 or 5 Walmart employees standing right there just with all the self-checkout things, That's
what I'm saying. And they have to go anytime you're going to buy alcohol or cigarettes or e-vape crap.
You still got to be carded. You still got to,
Yeah, the fucking AI isn't carding you.
It's like it changes the workplace like a little bit, but
exactly. That's what it is this the automation will change the dynamic. Maybe the actual labor being done, like maybe the guys don't have to put their actual hands into the machinery and get their fingers cut off anymore, but they have to stand there and monitor the AI that's getting its synthetic hands cut off in the machinery. You know what I mean? It's the people aren't going anywhere, because the human brain is still, and I think will be forever, more capable of rational thought and common sense than any AI machine ever will. And that's just my personal opinion. I don't buy into the idea that a computer can make any of the logic choices that a human brain can.
Yeah, when I was younger, I worked in a tool and die factory for a little while, and those machinists down there, I mean, they pretty much know how to run this machine, and then, but it does all the work, and that's kind of the same thing, That's
what I'm saying.
Know how to program this thing and make it do what they want it to do, but they still have to stand there and make sure that it does it, because there'd be a lot of times that machine would fuck up, or that machine would, something would be off, or something jams up, or, so I don't feel like you're ever going to be able to have, I don't know, this big only ran by machine things going on without people to make sure that.
Yeah. Like I said, 50 years ago, you had to put your own hand in the grinder and get it cut off.
Yeah.
Today, you don't have to put your hand in the grinder, but the grinder still gets jammed every 15 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I think. I think that there won't be the jobs will change, but there's not going to be this where nobody can find anything because computers got it.
Right.
But I think a lot of it too is that people anytime there's going to be change, people a lot of times fear change.
Oh, that's what it is. Is you can easily whip the middle class and the working class into a frenzy by telling them that the job that they trained for 50 years is obsolete and nobody's going to do it anymore. That is that will scare them. That will motivate them to vote a particular way. That'll motivate them to spend and buy in a particular way. And I just don't see that world happening in front of me.
Turns out,
like I used to listen to Sam Harris's podcast. I don't know if you know who Sam Harris is. He's been on Joe Rogan a bunch of times, and he's just like this douche who he's just like he's a thinker. He's like a genius thinker, and he has all these predictions that he does of future tech and all these different things. And to me, it's like if Sam Harris has never been in a factory and has never seen how factory machines work, then Sam Harris is not the authority on AI taking over factory jobs. He doesn't understand the nuance of what a factory job even is because he's never been there. He's just an academic who spent his whole life in college classrooms telling people, getting people scared that the world's changing. Yeah. The world changes, but human beings are still always going to be human beings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's they say this about, I know MMA, they talk about it a lot, but I think it's just for anything. And that's that you can be a great fighter. That doesn't mean you're going to be a great teacher. Right.
Right.
And sometimes you don't have to be a great fighter to be a great teacher.
Yeah. Like Dwayne Bang Ludwig in his The Rise of TJ Dillashaw. Dwayne Bang wasn't an exceptional fighter, really, by UFC standards, and yet getting in the coaching position, he was able to take TJ Dillashaw all the way to multiple defenses of a championship.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like my little brother, that's the HVAC guy. He teaches an HVAC course at a trade school around here now. He's been doing that for a couple years. It's like a thing he does on the side because he still works in the field too, and the guy that runs that HVAC course, my brother said, is like he's never really been in the field. He just is it's like almost like an HVAC scholar. Like he knows everything from reading it. He studied it and stuff, but he's never been out in the field doing HVAC,
Right.
And him and my brother will butt heads because it's like just because something says that it works like this on paper doesn't mean when you're actually out there doing it that it's like the most effective way to do it.
Right. Exactly.
If you can,
I will always take the person who has experience in the field over the person who has the book memorized.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you can be able to walk, you can know all the steps and stuff, but unless you've been out there actually doing it, then you don't sometimes really know, if this is right or if this is wrong or if this is the best way to do it.
This has been a weird episode.
I mean, I think they're kind of all weird episodes, aren't they?
Well, we normally at least talk about funny stuff.
Talk about what?
I said we normally talk about funny stuff.
Yeah, sometimes.
I guess I'm just in a mood today.
Yeah, I got a lot done on this thing right now.
I need to switch over and see where you're at because I've got a lot fucking done on this. I'm fucking humming on this page right here. Let me draw this butt real quick and then
get that
switch
butt.
over.
Get that butt.
Then I'm going to switch over, and it's not a good butt. It's just a zombie button jeans. It's a flat zombie button jeans.
Flat zombie button jeans.
All my zombies wear blue jeans for some reason. They like wear blue jeans and t-shirts because it's easier to draw than a fucking suit.
Yeah, I got almost all this thing lined out except for the actual lump gore head and a little bit more. As far as like a couple little butterfly looking bugs.
Yeah, man. You're humming along on that thing.
Getting it. I'm ready to have this freaking book out, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, we should be talking about Indiegogo next week, shouldn't we?
Yeah, that's my plan, man. My plan. I'm so close. This is really the last like big art thing that has to be done, you know.
All right. Let's see. We're pretty much done and ready to go. I want to draw one more zombie in here, and then feel like we can get off the air. It was a pretty good episode. That hour went by fast as fuck.
It did. I really enjoy doing this show. I think it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely we're settling into what the idea of what
we kind of
the show I envisioned this to be was us bullshitting while we draw comics, and I think that these last few days have really been exactly that. And for people that like prefer our fat heads and making jokes and stuff like that over us like really sitting here and drilling in to the comics, I think you might be disappointed with the direction of the show, because this is really where we want it to be. And for me, when I watch other artists drawing shows, I really like watching them draw. So for me, this is not only is this what I want to be doing all day, but as a fan being entertained, I like to watch the hardcore drawing shows.
Well, and I think me and you have talked, a couple times about how we're not really setting out to be like YouTubers,
Right, right, exactly.
That we just kind of thought, like, we love watching drawing tutorials or live drawing, so we kind of just thought it'd be cool to have one, like a little show where because we do work on this every day no matter what. And so some days the talk might be more funny, and some days it might not, and some days you might hate us, and some days you might think.
Can you see my page here?
Hold on, I'll move over.
This is quite a bit of work.
Oh shit, yeah.
Pretty happy with that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 figures and a background, just in that panel.
Yeah.
I did that pretty quick. I did those 2 panels in less than an hour.
That's a lot of work on that page too. I love the broke frame hand up there. I can't stop breaking frame, dude. Everything I draw, it's like, oh, let's put this out over here, this out over here. There's very few things in my book that full on just stay in the. There is some of it, but there's a lot of frame breaking in my book for sure. And yeah, yours are always like that too.
Yep. Because again, I look at it as this whole thing is a piece of art. Each panel and then each page, and then how each page flows into the next page is all an artistic decision.
Yeah, and
I
think that it even like helps move, because all these panels, that you kind of are supposed to, they go together. So sometimes breaking frame can kind of like tie them with the next one. It's like this one's literally reaching out into this one.
Yeah, that's really what we should, as artists, our goal should be to move the audience's eye, the reader's eye, from one panel to the next in a natural fashion. So each panel should be laid out in a way that naturally draws the reader's eye down to the next, across to the next panel, or down to the next panel, or however you have your stuff laid out. Having things point like, and it's not really it's not an exact science, but I'm going to lock on my screen for a second here so I can make this point. Can you not? Am I just a blank screen right now?
Yeah.
What happened?
No idea. That's your screen. I see your screen there.
Okay, I'm back. All right.
Whoa.
Yeah, let me get back in there.
Now you're black again.
Are we back to my screen?
Now you're back. Yep.
We're back?
Yeah, it's there now.
I don't know what's
yep.
I don't know what's going on. Anyway, let me just do a little artsy bullshit before we take off. So and a lot of this is unconscious behavior on the part of the artist, and then you can kind of try to interpret it on the back end. Some of it's very deliberate, but I have 3 panels stacked on top of each other. My hand is broken into out of the shot here. So your eyeball should come from the left side from the previous page, and the hand draws you in from the left, and then the characters are looking to the right. These feet are these zombies coming out of his face. This is all one linear path, and then it cuts down, and this zombie is almost an arrow pointing into this shot, and all these are pointing in this direction, and you follow this hand down into this shot. You see how I've got that laid out there?
Yep, that's what I'm saying. They connect over broken frame pretty much. Like it shows you this one lays into this one, lays into this one.
Right. And again, a lot of times that's not a deliberate act. As an artist, it's almost intuitive as you're laying out your page. Just kind of intuitively draw your reader's eye from one panel to the next to the next. And it doesn't always work, and sometimes there are different artistic choices that take precedent over that. When telling dramatic storytelling, not every picture is going to point to the next picture, but you should look for it. You should look for opportunities to do it when you can, I guess.
Yeah, another thing that I always feel like helps do that too, along with like the stuff you were just saying, is even word bubble placement and stuff like that. Like if your word bubbles are all weird and jumbled up, like putting your word bubbles in the right place is a big part of the reader easily being able to know what one to go to next. Because I've read certain comics before where you'll be reading it and then it's like you read a word bubble because you feel like it's the one you're supposed to read and it doesn't make sense, and you're like, oh, I bet, because they'll be all jumbled up or real close, and it's hard to know, should I read that one first or this one? So I think that the word bubble placement is important too, as far as like moving readers like through your story, where it's not confusing.
Yeah, that's why some people actually hire letterers, and their letterers' like only job is to create that coherency with the word bubbles and word bubble placement on the page. There's like professional letterers who get off on doing that, and I struggled with it a lot. In my first issue, my word bubbles are all over the place, and I was real apprehensive about, because hack movies is like, the thing about hack movies is it's all about these gigantic Kevin Smith-esque monologues of filth, just filthy fucking butthole jokes. And if you notice in that first issue, it's almost like there's not a. It's like I held back. Mm-hmm. Because I was so afraid that I wasn't going to be able to fit all the banter into the word bubbles on the page, because I didn't lay out the pages with the word bubbles in mind. Yeah, but if you notice that,
I'm sorry, I've heard a lot of comic artists. I watch their videos or listen to them talk, and a lot of them say also that the other reason that they hire people to do it is because like when you draw these pages and stuff. Sometimes there might be something that like the word bubble needs to go here, but then it would cover this, and I don't want to do that because it's like your favorite part of the
Yeah. I drew that hand 500 times, and you're gonna fucking tell me you're gonna put a word bubble over it? Like, as the artist, you're gonna find a way to put that word bubble somewhere else,
somewhere like empty. You're trying to find little empty spots, and so that's another reason I've heard a lot of guys say that they like have someone else do that they're gonna put the word bubbles where they need to be. They're not gonna be trying to spare something here. And I think that's probably important, because I know even just in this one there's parts where it's like, man, the word bubble has to go there. I don't want it there.
Yeah. Doug Tenaple told a story the other day about there's a page in Bigfoot Bill where he could not get Bill's foot in perspective the way it needed to be, and it was driving him crazy. So he actually added dialogue to the page specifically to cover the foot. Yeah. There was no dialogue bubble there, and he forced the dialogue bubble into the panel so that he could cover the foot. He said, if you take the panel away, there's no foot. Yeah, he's like, I didn't draw that foot.
I watched that episode when he was talking about that, and he said it's the only time he's ever done it. Which really, think about it, it's pretty impressive to have only done it once. Because my whole book could just be word bubbles, dude.
Right.
But yeah, dude. All that. What do they call that? Is that pacing? Pacing's another thing where it's like, if you want your readers to if you want the story to seem like it's moving fast, and use less word bubbles, and if you want it to seem like it's moving a little slow to use more because then they're gonna hang out on the page longer, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So like
Definitely.
if you have something that's supposed to be a little sequence that's real fast, let the pitcher tell the story and use limited words so that they kind of flipping faster, and then you can slow them down. And
yeah, definitely. If you notice, my second issue is way denser with dialogue because I actually laid the second issue out with word bubbles specifically so that I knew how many, because I would look at this wall of text and be like, how the fuck am I gonna do this? And I would find way. And the second issue, I was able to find many more ways to creatively add those hack movies-esque monologues than I was first issue. I got more comfortable with my word bubble placement and with adding lots and lots of dialogue to it. So the second issue is way more wordy than the first issue.
Yeah, when I could see a lot of things in the second issue of your book that I could tell that you just kind of let loose a little bit more on I think because even like just the action scenes look a lot more. There's just so much more going on. There's so much more like where you actually like the lasers and all this shit that you see. I feel like you're really like kind of, it seems like, because the first issue is like, at least the one I just made, there's a part of it where you're just like so focused on, am I able to even do this?
Exactly.
You know, and then so I feel like once you get that down where you're like, all right, man, I know I can do this, then you just kind of settle in and you're like, I'm gonna kill these things, you know?
Yeah. You could take much more bold choices and chances.
But the first one has so much of the mental of just like, am I gonna complete this? You know?
Yep, exactly.
That I think a lot of energy goes into that, and so it seems like the second one, everyone after that probably gets a little bit more, wide open.
For sure. All right, well, I think we're good. We've gone over a little bit. We drew a bunch of stuff today, so you think you're going to be on to coloring that bad boy, that bad cover tomorrow, or you gonna do that tonight?
I don't really know if I don't know what the rest of my day is going to be like today. I have to go out there and talk to the boss lady and see what she's got going. If there's not much going on, I'll probably just color it tonight just because I want to have it done, and then I'll be working on that intro page tomorrow. And if there's a bunch going on, I very well could be coloring this thing tomorrow. I think she has I think she has a school thing to do later, so I know that will be some time where I'll be hanging out with the kiddos. And then I can't draw when the wild animals are running around.
Right. All right, dude. Well, we'll get back to it tomorrow. Remember to subscribe. We were one subscriber away from 500, but someone came by and said, you know what, these fat fucks, I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm tired of seeing this every day show up in my notifications. And they unsubscribed from us. We actually lost a subscriber.
Well, we did gain some too, though. We gained some and then lost one. So
we're at 498 right now. We only need 2 subscribers to get to 500, and that's a big goal, gang. That'll be a celebration day.
Yeah.
For now, let's go Blues.
Yo.
And we'll be back tomorrow to let you know how that game went. I'm gonna watch that game with my mom.
Are you?
I am.
I'm gonna watch that game in my living room with kids climbing all over me, like I'm a jungle gym of a dad.
Yeah. Sounds like we're both gonna have a good time tonight. Good family fun. Good family fun evening. All right. Remember to stay strange.
Stink it up.
And subscribe, motherfuckers. Subscribe.